Let me tell you a story. A man once asked me, why is it that some guys, years later, after the relationship is over, after she's married to someone else, after she's moved on, why is it that she still thinks about that one man? Why is it that some men leave a mark that never fades? And I told him this. It's not the flowers. It's not the trips. It's not even how long they were together. What lingers is not what he gave her. It's who he was. She doesn't remember the dozens of texts he sent. She remembers the man who didn't need to send any. She doesn't remember the dinners he paid for. She remembers the energy he carried when he walked into a room. She doesn't remember the nights he bent over backward to please her. She remembers the nights she sat across from him, realizing she felt something rare in his presence. See, most men believe being unforgettable is about doing more. But the truth? The men she never forgets are unforgettable because they are more. Let me break this down for you. Ronder, the gravity of presence. There's a kind of silence that's louder than shouting. Picture this. Two men walk into the same room. The first is restless, checking his phone, adjusting his clothes, trying to be noticed. His energy is scattered everywhere, begging for attention. The second man walks in quietly. He's calm, centered. He doesn't demand attention, but people notice him anyway. Why? Because presence is not about volume. It's about weight. That second man carries himself as though he doesn't need the room's approval. He already knows who he is, and that makes him magnetic. A woman doesn't remember the man who needed validation. She remembers the man who gave her a new feeling just by being near him. And here's the thing. Presence cannot be faked. You can't memorize lines or play games to achieve it. Presence is built when a man does the inner work, when he knows himself so deeply that no storm outside can shake what's inside. That's the first reason some men are unforgettable. They don't just walk into a woman's life, they anchor it. 2. Detachment is power. Here's where most men fail. They confuse detachment with coldness. But the truth is, detachment isn't about not caring. It's about not clinging. Let me paint two pictures. One man is glued to his phone. His stomach flips every time she doesn't reply. Hours feel like days. Every move she makes controls him. The other man sets his phone down, goes back to work, gets lost in his mission. Hours pass, but he barely notices. Not because he's careless, but because his life is already full. Who leaves the lasting impression? The desperate man fades. The grounded man stays in her mind. Detachment doesn't kill attraction. It fuels it, because when a man isn't tethered to her every mood, every test, every response, he feels different. He feels free. And freedom is rare. And the rare man is unforgettable. Ruther, breaking the pattern. Think about your favorite story. Why does it stick with you? Because at some point, it surprised you. Human beings remember the unexpected. Attraction works the same way. She tests you, expecting you to bend. She pulls away, expecting you to panic. She raises her voice, expecting you to argue. And then she meets the man who doesn't do any of that. He smiles calmly when tested. He remains grounded when she pulls away. He stays steady when she storms. That moment rewires everything in her mind, because suddenly, he's not like the rest. He's not predictable. He's not ordinary. And ordinary men are forgettable. But the man who breaks her pattern, that man lives rent-free in her memory. Respect is non-negotiable. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. A woman cannot respect you more than you respect yourself. When you let her cross boundaries, when you let disrespect slide, when you bite your tongue just to keep the peace, you are teaching her something. You are teaching her, I will stay no matter how I'm treated. And that kills respect. But the man who knows his worth, he doesn't scream, not to punish her, but to protect himself. And that quiet strength says louder than words, I don't need to be here if I'm not respected. Do you know how rare that is? Most men are terrified to lose her. They'll endure anything to avoid being alone. But the man who can walk away from disrespect, she never forgets him. Because deep down, she knows how hard it is to find a man like that. Here's something most men never understand. She can forget the man who made her his whole world, but she will never forget the man who already had a world and invited her to join it. Think about it. The man obsessed with her, he drowns her in attention. At first it feels flattering, but soon it feels suffocating. But the man obsessed with his mission? That's different. Maybe it's his business. Maybe it's his art. Maybe it's the way he trains his body, the way he studies, the way he builds. Whatever it is, it fuels him. And when she steps into his orbit, she doesn't just see a man. She sees a force. That kind of man. She never forgets him. Because he's not just living, he's becoming. And every man who comes after him will be measured against that fire in his eyes. Most men either drown in it or run from it, but the unforgettable man becomes the lighthouse. She cries, she shouts, she panics, and he doesn't flinch. Not cold, not distant, present, grounded, steady, and even if she doesn't say it, she feels it. This man is safe. This man is solid. That feeling imprints itself in her memory, because years later, when she's with someone else, when she's in chaos again, she'll remember, there was once a man who stood calm in my storm. 7. The strength to leave. This is the hardest lesson. Most men collapse when it's over. They beg, they plead, they negotiate. But the man she never forgets knows when to walk away. Not because he stopped loving her, but because he refuses to stay where respect no longer exists. And when he walks away, he doesn't slam doors. He doesn't send angry texts. He simply leaves with dignity. And that leaves an echo. Because most men are too afraid to do it. And when a woman meets one who can, she never forgets him. She may replace him in her bed, but not in her soul. So what's the point? The men she never forgets are not magicians. They don't use tricks. They don't play games. They simply become men worth remembering. Men with presence. Men with detachment. Men who break patterns. Men who respect themselves. Men who live with purpose. Men who stay calm in storms. Men who can walk away when needed. That is the man who lingers in her memory, long after he's gone. So stop asking how to keep her. Stop obsessing over how to make her love you. Instead, focus on becoming that man. Because once you do, she may try to move on. She may try to erase you. She may even tell herself she's forgotten you. But deep down, she never will.